would like to think that sustainability should be a granted objective, but we're conscious it is a difficult journey. Across industries, companies are now turning to data science and artificial intelligence. In theory, these new technologies should give competitive advantage and help companies in their business transformations. So many questions to discuss with you. Isabelle Bajeux, Dean of Tepper Business School at Carnegie Mellon University, Quentin Michard, co-founder of Ekimetrics, and Asmita Dubey, Chief Digital and Marketing Officer at L'Oréal Group. Isabelle Bajeux, what can we learn from the history of data transformation? Why is it so difficult?
Thank you for the question. First of all, I'm delighted to be here and talking about these important points today. I would say the first thing is that at Tepper, at Carnegie Mellon University, we invented management science. We've been always looking at the way to solve business problems by using data instead of using past cases that may or may not be relevant, depending on the cases. The reality is that there's no blueprint for a pandemic, for example. And it's only with a very different approach, which is very data-oriented, that we can come up with solutions that make sense for the industry. So that's the first point. The second point is that business schools, universities in general are incredibly important, obviously, for companies in the way that we're producing the talents that will then work within the companies and advancing these companies. One of the things we don't want to be is to be in an ivory tower. We really want the collaboration with the industry and really at different levels. So it is both for undergraduate students, master students, PhD students, and professors. So at all levels, we want the industry to be our partners in the way that we do research, in the way that we're teaching our students, and that's incredibly important in what we're doing. And I think this is something that is really powerful. The third thing I would say is that I really have a pet peeve. And that's when people talk about data-driven. I don't like the idea of data driving anything, but I like the idea of being informed with the data. So the branding that we came up with, well, first of all, we call it the intelligent future. And when we're thinking about intelligence, nice French word, it is about the balance between artificial and human intelligence. And the tagline that we're using is that we want to be data-informed and human-driven. And obviously that applies, within a business school context, but it applies, I think, for a lot of companies. In particular, I would say, when we're talking about issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion, with what we know as being very deep algorithm biases. If we're driven by the data, if we're driven by our algorithm, we're going to just reproduce whatever is the status quo right now, and that's not where we want to be. We really want a better society, and we really want our students and the future business leaders to work for a better society.
Quentin Michard, with your experience working with Fortune 500 companies, embarked in data transformations for 15 years, what are the main obstacles that they met?
There is 4 main challenges for companies willing to engage and transform their company with AI. I guess the first is around those companies piling up use cases without real strategy about what they want to achieve. And I guess the challenge for them is to have the right level of sponsorship within the companies. And I guess L'Oréal and Asmita here is a very good example of the way the CEOs and CMOs and the executive committee embark the whole company into this transformational journey. It's a very strong prerequisite for success. The second, Isabelle just talked about it. It's a question of the challenge they have is it's very difficult to disrupt yourself alone. So you need people to help you to do so. And I guess there's a question for them to find the right partners. And let's be honest, the market is fairly immature there. So you have the uni that have this role to provide new talents with new skill sets to help those companies transform. You have like small entities, startups, small ecosystems, very disruptive, that can help those big companies to innovate. But then the question is how you can scale those initiatives being small. And also you have those big business services, traditional business services, big companies. But beyond the claim of being agile and being innovative and being business partners, they all recognize it's very hard for them to deliver on that promise. So the maturity of the ecosystem is a challenge. Third, I guess it's a question of how you want to make this happen. There's this question always for those companies between the make or buy. Should I make the AI assets? Should I produce that myself and embark into in-house capabilities? Or should I rent or rely on external partners to do so? So there's no, looking on the last decade, there is no winning model, clear winning path for that. So there's winning and failure in both models. I guess it's very important for the company willing to embark there to be very sharp and very focused on deciding what is the right path for each use cases and very instruct that carefully. Last but not least, I think it's a question of, in the end of the day, being very transformative. I think the companies have realized how much it takes to transform a company with AI and digital assets, and so it's not a tech journey. It's a transformational journey. You have technology, but you need to embark people and transform your people. You need to embark business processes to ensure business adoptions of your assets and solutions. So it's a world journey, and I guess the last decade has learned those companies to maybe being more clear about the size of the scale of this transformation and the effort it implies to do so.
Asmita, Dubey, you wanted to react as L'Oréal experienced such difficulties?
Yeah, no, it's a very, very interesting perspective that you bring. I think I will start with digitalization and then move to the data transformation. We have been digitalizing for more than a decade now. And you brought about the challenges, I'll talk about them. Our then CEO, Mr. Jean-Paul Agon, he declared in 2010 that this is the year of digital. And from there triggered this goal to be digital first. Today we are moving to data first, yeah. So in this journey, and you were talking about transformation, but in the digital transformation journey, we went through many things. I mean, the first thing is to digitalize the beauty consumer journey with new touch points, adapted content, to pivot to new business models like e-commerce, acceleration, to create factories of scale, whether it is websites or content, and they allow us to operate at one base and to collect data also in one stage. We are also talking a lot about talent and upskilling, so to bring in new talent, because there is talent in the company, but there are some parts which are not there, and to the rest of the company to upskill, no matter it's digital or data transformation today. So to give you an example, we have 5,500 people who are the digital community. A lot of them have been brought in, and almost 67,000 people have been upskilled over this period. And the fifth point in terms of overall transformation that we go through is this idea of measuring, tracking, knowing what is the goal. And it is true that the transformation is moving from digital transformation to data transformation. So first we have to transform everything into data, to transform via data. And all of those are like challenges. I think all five, but especially on data, there is a lot of challenges. 2 or 3 challenges that I would say. The first one is to approach it as a test and learn. Because on each aspect of this transformation, if I were to say, it's not like we got it right the first time. When we started doing content management systems, we had to do it many times over. Today, we are looking at data domains. And as we test it, we realize that what part of the data is there, what is not there. The second thing to do is to seize what is starting. you know, and we have L'Oreal has always been about seize what is starting. And the third thing to do is, again, with all these subjects, so many functions, so many people, so many different parts are connected that at an organization, there has to be a level of simplicity with which we operate, because all these are challenges for the organization, and we learn as we go along it.
Quentin, Michard, you accompany L'Oréal and other companies in these transformations. According to you, what are the key success factors for sustainable business transformations?
Yeah, it's just to pursue what Asmita was saying. I think there is a motto from digital transformation that is very well spread out now, which is the think big, test small, learn fast. Though I think this motto needs to be a bit revised when it comes to the sustainable transformation, because the stakes are different. When it comes to climate change, all the companies need to start from the end state. I mean, they all need to reach carbon neutrality. They all need to operate within the planet boundaries in a few decades. That's the end point. And so it's not really about being competitive, because digital is about providing new products, new services to your clients, so you get a winning competitive advantage there. Here, we all need to finish and to be there at the finish line all together. So it's a bit different. And I would say as well for CEOs, and they know that, I mean, business as usual is more and more complex. Growth for growth is more and more complex. So they need to future-proof their business model. And for that, they need to transform as well. So I would rephrase the think big, test small into the think long, because they need now to envisage something a bit different and wider than just the growth for growth. They need to test wise. There is a lot about the tech pledge and innovation pledge. Now companies need to innovate, being careful about the impact of their innovation within the ecosystem. So they really need to test wise their initiatives. And then it's about learning, but it's also about sharing your knowledge. Learning for yourself is not enough. If we want to deliver the sustainability change we need to deliver for the planet, it's about sharing your initiatives. So think long, test wise, and share. And please don't fail. There's few space for failure for the sake of our old children. The second stake they have for the CEOs, it's reported by Forrester. I mean, climate change is in the agenda of 60% of the CEO and top of the agenda. So it's very important for them. And I think the challenge is really to embark. It's transformational as well, so you need to embark all your ecosystem with you. Not only your employees, but you need to embark your employees. You need to embark your customers. You need to embark your suppliers and providers, all the value chain within where you operate. And last but not least, they need to embark their shareholders. And we know the path is fairly narrow there, so there's really at stake for the CEOs this question of remodel their corporate leadership. Recently in Financial Times, you can read that US institutions are pulling out money from BlackRock, which is the world leader in asset management. And the reason why they're pulling out the money is that they argue that BlackRock is too much into sustainability and not supporting enough oil and gas. So you see that there is some key challenge, and we are in an area where you want to be very careful, but also very bold into your corporate leadership. And I think even though the path is narrowed, it's also probably the unique opportunity for the CEOs of those times to demonstrate what true leadership is.
Isabelle, Bajeux, what do you think is the role of academics and talents to guide it?
Well, this is an incredibly important role, obviously. As I said earlier, we're feeding the corporate world with talents. One piece that Asmita discussed earlier is, to me, incredibly important, is the fact that students are coming to universities, but now we have the deep understanding that whatever they're going to learn is not going to be enough for all of their career. So there will be needs for reskilling. There will always be these needs, and right now we see a lot of needs in terms of AI education in general.
Asmita, Dubey, how do you lead this upscaling, reskilling, both in data science and in soft skills in L'Oréal?
Yeah, no, we are bouncing off each other, but like you said, it is so important to keep on doing that. So our new philosophy is upskill, reskill, and new skills. So at one time you're upskilling on your subject. So let's say the subject is AI or data analytics or data science, and then you reskill. So you reskill them to pivot them to something else. So if they start getting into CRM or consumer relationships, it is a reskilling but a bit related. And then completely new skills. So somebody who has to code or AI is a completely new skill. So how can we take the 5,500 people and the ones who are the broader, marketing and community? How do we upskill, reskill, and gather new skills for them so that we are all the time, serving what is coming?
So Quentin, Michard has a conclusion to how we can lead sustainable data transformations. What would you say?
I guess in very few words, it's just to rebound on Isabelle, it's the winners will be the ones that are able to combine the AI and the science with the heart of sustainability. So it's a question of translation.
Yes, absolutely. I think what I'm trying to do every day is to break silos. So breaking silos, it's incredibly important because there's no solution that is going to come from one discipline, and there is no solution that is not going to come from a deep collaboration with the industry. And the second thing is within disciplines, within the university. So we have a chance to be within a university that has incredible, research that is being done in artificial intelligence, in computer science in general, in engineering, in lots of amazing topics. And we want to leverage that as the business school to make sure that the solutions that are brought to the world are really interdisciplinary, because these are the only solutions that are going to work.
For us, I think I would say that we are pioneering beauty tech. We are pioneering beauty tech, and beauty tech to us means a new kind of relationship with our consumers. The future of beauty will be powered by technology. Technology is helping us to bring more personalization, like we spoke about it. It is also helping us in terms of formulating new products that are more effective. And we also use technology for being more sustainable, for our L'Oréal for the Future goals. And to give you an example here, for our professional products division, we are partnering with a company on a device called Gyoza. And gyoza is used in the salons by hairstylists, and it helps to save water. It's a shower head with a technology that saves water while coloration and washing hair. So technology helps in different aspects of our business today.